Greetings, Facebook viewers. I'm Benjamin Bryant from Bryant McKinnon Lawyers, and this is not Heather McKinnon. This is Gemma Rope, who's an employed solicitor here at the firm. Hello, Gemma.
Hello, Ben.
Welcome to Facebook.
Thank you.
Well, we're here today, Gemma, to discuss our latest episode on the Family Matters show podcast about essentially juggling family and work life. And who better expert to have than you? Gemma, of course, you have 4 children. You have Rowan, you have Will, you have Moses, you have Kaylin, you have Greg.
Yes.
He's an adult now, but you have Greg at home, and so you know exactly how to manage, and you do manage really, really well. In fact, one of my favourite pictures that I have is when Rowie was, I don't know how old, but young, like hours old. And you were at work, of course, because that's your work ethic, and that's what I love. And he was, so I think originally he was on your lap, and then he kind of was sliding off. And then you were like holding on like, I'm not going to move. But on the other hand, you were actually typing away, doing an affidavit or something really important. And I love that picture. And I think that really encapsulates what we discussed on the show. So well done, you.
Oh, thank you. Oh.
Yeah. How do you do it? I assume you rely on Greg a lot. I assume it's a very organized. Is it a tight ship? Is it chaos? Is it what?
I think just going with the flow a little bit, and some weeks are busier, and we try and keep a little fair bit of organisation in there, but just try and enjoy things. Yeah. Look, the kids are at school today. They managed to get on the bus. I'm here. I got clothes on. We're doing something.
We're doing it. Come what may. And of course, Gemma, on this podcast episode, we actually had a really excellent guest. Our first international guest, actually, from the Big Apple, New York City. It was Daisy Dowling, and she runs a US-based coaching and training company, and she's also the author of Work Parent, which we talk about on the show, and also we'll provide the links to the book in our show notes. And basically, she's written on the book on work parents trying to live more fulfilled and satisfying lives, and how to juggle both, what we were just talking about. And really, she's pretty amazing. Like I said, she's written a book. She's also advised and spoke with Dow Jones, Pfizer, Disney, the NBA. She's had Harvard, articles in the Harvard Business School, the New York Times, Washington Post, Fast Company, and then of course she was on the Bryant McKinnon Lawyers podcast. So that's pretty amazing.
She knew her stuff.
Yeah. What did you think? What did you think?
She was awesome. She was so cool. She spoke from experience too. She has 2 kids.
Yeah.
She's working a lot and achieving a lot. And my impression, the whole her motto, her message for parents was thrive at work and raise happy children.
Yeah.
You can achieve both. It is possible.
And kind of like what you were saying as well, in terms of, a lot of people put a lot of focus on being engaged at work and doing well at your job, but exactly what you said as well in one of your responses is that you are engaged at home. Do you know what I mean? You get home and you make that a deal. You make it a deal that work can be a positive thing, because what Daisy was kind of talking about was from children's perspective. They don't quite understand, because work is a negative. If your parents there are whinging about work and they have to go and it's awful and so did this and they have this big task to do, but then the children also sees them, but they're always there. It's like they're prioritizing the negative thing over our little positive thing that we've got going. I think that was really interesting.
I really liked how she described or brought our attention to that.
Yeah.
And I do try and be positive about work and do the happy face by saying goodbye to the kids in the morning and saying big hellos when I get home and being very positive. But I absolutely can see that there would be times, and parents with the being brought the negative of work and talking about it poorly. And I had modeled to me working parents. Obviously my children are now having that as well. And what Daisy was saying, modeling for your children that work is good. Work brings in money, and it can give you
lollies.
Work is good. Work, obviously, that can be hard attitude to have at times for some parents, and what's happening in their life at any given time. But I did like that she drew our attention to speaking positively with the children about work, because it is something they're going to have to do. This is real life. That's right.
And Gemma, also, Daisy spoke with us about different strategies and tips to employ to help find the balance and get engagement in both areas. And one of the interesting things that she introduced was a working parent template. That's essentially when you look at your life, review your life, and find out what's working, what's not. Your to-do list, but also I've already done list. She spent a bit of time focusing on that, which was great, because you can see not the things necessarily that you haven't accomplished yet or the task ahead, but you actually can have the chance to look back and say, I've done this. This is which is pretty important, I think. But also, and again, I think I quoted Oprah on the last show, so I get criticised for doing it again, but also the power to say no, which is Oprah's big on that as well. I mean, it is sometimes appropriate to say no. Which is exactly also what you said. You said in your calendar that works for you, you try and schedule some no time. You're not doing anything. You're saying no to others, and you're saying this is some family time, and that's what's happening. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I really liked her strategy with the work template in life, and just going, let's review what's happening here. Let's take a step back, and we don't have to follow the model that's been given to us by our friends, or what they do, what that person did, what the books, like what you've read about different things, or the expectations about what you should be able to achieve at work, and what you should look like as a parent, what your kids should be doing. We don't have to follow those rules. You can actually edit, take bits, and go, okay, what's going to work for me and my family. I like that.
And one of the rules, or one of the themes, that people try and do is, of course, the evening meal. We all got to gather around the table at a specific time, and they used to meat and 3 veg, and away you go. But Daisy, took us through saying it doesn't have to be an evening meal. It doesn't have to be in the evening. It doesn't even have to be a meal. Do you know what I mean? It's just a bit of an experience, a bit of a ceremony for everyone, a chance to connect and regroup and just have some time together, rather than putting the pressure on yourself that at 7 o'clock it's going to be a 7-course meal, it's going to be 7 stars, and all these things. That it's cool. It can happen anytime, any place.
That's right. She used the word ritual, and it was about connection. Connecting with the family, and sitting down around a meal is obviously a really common way that's how families connect and use that time. That's how my family connects at the end of the day and finds out what we all did, and have a little debrief and everything. But she was saying it doesn't have to be in a particular time or in a particular way. It's just that connection and making sure you actually set aside time to do it. She's even suggested doing a song or doing something, So I'd like to see that.
And I think that also played in just with the overall theme. I think that's what she said, is to make sure you afford yourself some grace and dignity. Do you know what I mean? And just take the pressure off. And just do you. Okay, do what works.
I like it.
Gemma, I think that's a pretty amazing little rundown of what our listeners can expect on this episode. So thank you for that. The full show of the podcast is, of course, available at our website, bryantmckinnon.com.au, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Next month, we're going to be taking a break, but when we come back, we'll be speaking with Gabrielle Cantrell, who is the solicitor in charge at Family Law Legal Aid New South Wales, and she's going to speak with us all about independent children's lawyers. If you have an independent children's lawyer, know someone who has an independent children's lawyer appointed, the matter's probably pretty ugly, and it's pretty difficult to navigate those types of matters. So make sure you stay tuned for next time. All right, see you guys.